News about the coronavirus has overwhelmed and overrun our media cycle, and its impact has become more clear with every new milestone in peak case numbers across the US. But how do we get here? What makes this virus so dangerous and effective? Let's start there. This is episode 1 of Clarifying COVID-19. Starting with the roots. What is COVID-19? To understand this, we have to start with what are coronaviruses? Actually, let's back it up even further. What are viruses? This is a bacterium. Bacteria are small, complex, living, single-celled microorganisms that replicate their own cellular machinery. They can live on their own inside or outside of our bodies. Most bacteria are harmless, and we actually could not survive without the bacteria that lives inside our body, especially those in our digestive tract. Now this is a virus. Unlike bacteria, viruses are non-living organisms that consist of a protein coat surrounding genetic material. Viruses are mostly malignant, and in order to replicate, they hijack cellular machinery of specific cells to make more viral proteins and genetic material. When done, these hijacked cells are killed in order to release the newly made virus to attack other cells. This brings us back to our central topic. As most of you already know, COVID-19 is a virus and not a bacteria. Coronaviruses are highly pathogenic viruses that have been seen to start in animal populations but have been transferred to humans. They are called coronaviruses mainly because of their crown-like appearance or halo under a microscope. The name comes from Latin roots, with corona meaning crown or wreath, and no, it has nothing to do with the beer or the town. Two well-known coronavirus illnesses are severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, SARS-CoV, and Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus, MERS-CoV. They are both lethal zoonotic viruses that have emerged into human populations these past 15 years. It goes without saying that this is a highly contagious disease. But how does it spread? Let's take a look at the structure of the virus. The virus spreads by using these spikes that are seen on the surface of the protein coat. These spikes are proteins that can interact with proteins on our cell surfaces. Once these proteins interact, the viral membrane fuses to the cell, believing it to be a benevolent interaction. Once inside the cell, the viral RNA can be used to make new viral proteins, initiate viral genetic material replication, and ultimately lead to the production of new viral packets that can go to infect other cells. Like many viruses, coronaviruses, or more specifically COVID-19, are spread mainly through small liquid droplets that contain the virus and are released through the mouth or nose of an infected person. At this time, there's no evidence that it is spread through blood or other bodily fluids. The research shows that coronavirus mainly spreads through talking, coughing, or sneezing. This is why social distancing and wearing face masks are so important. The best way to fight an invisible disease is to keep oneself from being exposed to these droplets from other people, which can be done by social distancing and wearing a mask. One more time for the people in the back, wear a mask. As many people know, the flu is also a virus. So someone may ask, why is COVID-19 so much worse than the flu? This virus has an incredibly long incubation period. Based on existing literature, the incubation period, also known as the time from exposure to development of symptoms, of SARS-CoV-2 and other coronaviruses, for example MERS-CoV and SARS-CoV, ranges from 2 to 14 days. During this incubation period, people can be contagious and spread the virus without feeling or knowing they are infected. Due to this and its ability to spread so efficiently, the rate of transmission is far higher than other viruses like the flu. The virus specifically targets cells that are important in the respiratory system, which includes your lungs. As it affects the lungs and a patient's ability to breathe, it can also exacerbate other medical issues, pre-existing or new. There's more and more data as of recently which shows how the virus affects the body outside of the respiratory system. In the heart, your immune system, kidneys, liver, and even your mental health. The symptoms are thought to be similar to those of the common cold or flu: fever or chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, and diarrhea. This is another reason why it is so difficult to pinpoint infection even after the incubation period is over. The more corona-specific symptoms don't come until later in infection and generally require intense medical attention if they occur. The actual course of the virus and duration of the recovery period varies by person, and first-hand accounts have shown symptoms and long-term damage that last far beyond the 2-week period. Again, if you experience any of these symptoms, you should seek medical attention and try to self-isolate as best as possible. You've probably heard high-risk and at-risk groups, and immunocompromised or immunosuppressed linked together in many briefings about this virus and its effects on society. Immunocompromised and immunosuppressed both mean that someone has a weaker immune system. The differences lie in how or why their immune system is weakened. In both cases, your body has a harder time fighting off disease and infections. Being immunocompromised means your immune system is not able to naturally fight off foreign bodies like other people can, while immunosuppressed means that one's immune response has been, for lack of a better term, suppressed or lowered intentionally as a form of treatment or preparation for treatment. So what does it mean to be high risk? The following groups are communities that have been known to respond severely to COVID-19 with a greater chance of fatality. Even if you or someone close to you is not included in these categories, it does not mean you are exempt from the serious consequences of this disease. The most important thing to know, unfortunately, in any current discussion about the virus is that we are learning more and more about it every day. What we initially thought was an acute respiratory disease that only affected high-risk groups has quickly evolved into a lethal virus that spares no one group in particular. Until there is a vaccine, everyone is at risk, and there is no way to determine how your body may respond. This is why prevention is key, and we'll talk more about that later.